Okay, I'm live. Hopefully, I'm live on both platforms. This is gonna be short and sweet, but it's gonna be a big one. If you follow me on my personal page, I just basically I was in Connecticut yesterday morning. We jumped in the car got up at 4 a.m., jumped in the car at 5, and drove to Florida. And it's of course, the 18-hour trip, turns into about 22 hours because you got to stop, you got to take breaks, you got to get gas, you got to eat, do all those things. So literally 3 o'clock this morning, I jumped. We took some of the stuff out of the car, jumped into bed, and 7:30, I'm just kind of programmed like 6 a.m. I'm up every morning. So 7:30, I was up, and I said, you know what, I got to get my day started. And I'm exhausted. I might ramble here a bit, but I'm going to be giving some really, really big stuff here. And I did move stuff away from my page, from my personal page. I'm putting it on my team page. And sorry. And I'm going to, this kind of like is going to explain why a lot of that stuff is going on. And it's going to also help you not to get stuck in the same traps that I fell in. So first thing, I'm going to give you probably the biggest tip on how I've been so successful in my life, and move forward, even like coming back from traumatic brain injury. Like most people don't realize, I still suffer from traumatic brain injury. I don't I don't put that stuff out there, but I'm putting some of the stuff out here today for you. I've got very, very few people on my page right now, and I'm going to be growing that audience. So I'm going to be growing it on my business page. I'm not going to be growing my business contacts on my personal page. And you're going to be seeing over probably about every other day, I'm going to try to do a training post. It's not going to be stuff that you're going to see on anybody else's, or most people's pages anyway. I'm not going to say anybody else. It's not like I'm creating reinventing the wheel here. But I'm just kind of tired of seeing the same, people throw up on everybody constantly with the same stuff over and over again, and thinking if they keep repeating the same thing over and over again, somehow it's going to change the outcome. Most of the people that are repeating the stuff have no idea where it came from. They didn't create it themselves, or they know where it came from, and there's just antiquated things that they've been taught over the years and say, well, if your people do this, you're going to get X. And a lot of that stuff just either was never true, was never really tested, or was true, and just in today's world, global mobile economy just doesn't exist anymore. So first thing I just want to touch on, again, I got to do this kind of quick because I'm going to fade fast here. So if it sounds like I'm babbling, it's for a good reason. I got like 3 hours sleep. The biggest thing that I learned is, and the reason why I'm doing it on this page is, there's no team in a home business. Okay? So don't get caught in believing that you're building a team, especially in an MLM. If you think you have a team, leave the company and try to take that team with you. Or say, hey, I'm going to start this other thing. All you got to do is go to somebody in charge and say, hey, I'm going to do this other thing, and I'm going to take and advertise it to my team. Okay? I mean, what was the biggest thing we heard for years? There's no I in team. Ain't no team in home business. Okay? You're not building a team. Okay? Go ahead and try to take your team and do something with your team that isn't company sanctioned. You're going to find out right quick it ain't your team, it's their team. Okay? So treat your business, and the reason why I teach these concepts is because if you understand what's really going on in your business, you can build your business on something that's real and lasting and will grow. And my last the last company I was working with, um, they had this binary, what they call a binary. So I'm going to draw the pictures. Okay, so it's you and you bring two people in, and they bring two people in, and it duplicates down. Okay. Okay, so they teach you that this is your team. No, this is your team right here. Okay, these people are not your team. Okay, try to leave the company. Well, you say, well, I brought these two people in. They must be, well, yeah, those are probably people you know. Okay, um, let's say you bring in Mary and Bob, and so you say Mary and Bob. Mary, I'm going to Mary and say, hey, Mary, I know you're building your group here. Okay, but I'm going to do something else. So why don't you take your group and bring it over? What's Mary going to say? Well, you don't know. So is that really your team? No, that's Mary's team. Okay, so Mary already has done something. You go to Bob. Bob says, I'm not going, I couldn't even build this thing here. Why would I go do something else? So this is just kind of this is the misconception. Like a lot of things are built based on, what do they say in business? Don't tell them things that they don't need to know. Okay, this is one of those things that they don't think you need to know. Okay, until you, what? Try to leave. Then all of a sudden you're going to need to know this. So, just recently companies merged and all this other stuff happened, and I started, I questioned a lot of the stuff from the beginning. I was like, well, if I'm bringing in two people and I'm putting them on separate legs, how is that in the compensation? Like they're really not helping each other. Like there just was too many questions in my mind. That's not really team building. I'm kind of like I'm creating two separate teams. So I'm not building my team. I'm building independent teams because these people can't even. What happens? You're going to bring in two people. Chances are they're. I mean, we all know each other. If you're bringing two people in, what's the chances you're going to bring two complete strangers in? So, like, they weren't teaching this stuff. I'm like, well, if I'm brought in two people, and I started actually just building one leg because I was like, this stuff just doesn't make any sense. I want to put these people together because I want them to work together. No, you got to put one. I mean, in order to get paid, you have to put one here, and then, yeah, but they're not going to, why would they want to help each other? Right? Like, they're not going to want to help each other if I put them on separate legs. It's like all that stuff. Like, so there's no I in team. Okay, remember this thing? There's no I in team. And then somebody found the I. It's in the A hole. Okay. So, of course, we've all seen this on Facebook. So, there's no team in your business. So don't try to build your business like you're building a team. It's not your team. And I found that right away. Okay? As soon as the companies merged, all of a sudden they had a new game plan, which was totally different than the old game plan. The only thing that was pretty much the same was what? The binary. This hybrid binary compensation plan that was probably about 70, 80% or 90%, whatever of what it was before. Same structure, just, different hoops you had to jump through in order to get paid. So now when I tried to start teaching the stuff from the old company that I was doing, oh no, you can't do that. You can't show the new people this other stuff that you were doing. You're messing things up. Stop. So that's the reason why I moved everything to this page. Okay, that's why it's going to take me time to rebuild this. And this time when I build it, it's going to be my team. Okay, I don't really... I'm not going to do with this fake faux, this is your team, get up on stage, make believe like it's your team, teach them stuff that everybody's going to tell them not to do. I'm not, when I build something now, it's going to be, I'm going to build it based on stuff like this that I'm showing you. Like, don't get stuck in faux, fake stuff. And so I'm starting from ground zero. Okay. So, what else did I want to show? Oh, one of my biggest secrets, and I generally have a couple of responses that I give people. I have a quick response, which is pretty much what somebody wants to hear, and I have the real reason why I do things. And the real reason why I do things comes back to this kind of motto thing that I don't have it like written down. Or I have it written down here, but this is kind of really the way I've lived my life, and I've been criticized for it. I've been laughed at for it. Um, I've been questioned for it. I've had strange looks for it, strange responses. Um, but when you kind of live, and you can start doing this at any point. I did it as just a youngster, just because I came from a blue collar immigrant family. Okay, my parents were first generation Americans, and something that kind of seems to get frowned upon these days. But they basically had this. Was their philosophy for life, and as the generations move on, and even my kids, it's the same thing. Like, they don't necessarily subscribe to this, but this is really what's helped me through everything. And I'm just going to give it to you right now. Don't be too good to do anything. Okay? Don't be too good to do anything. And everything you do will lead to the next door opening. What do I mean by that? People ask me, why did you drive? I mean, obviously I could jump on a plane, 2.5 hours, get off the plane in Connecticut. Okay, 2.5 hours and I'm back. Poof. Don't be too good to do anything. Okay, so why did I jump in a car? Okay, I had a lot of excuses for, why I jumped, for the average person. Okay, why did you, well, you could have, I had that post on my page. Why did you jump on the plane? Well, it's easy. Okay, because I needed to go back to my roots. Okay, a lot of things from the beginning of the year to now have gone down. And I'm kind of doing this. I have to do a fresh start. I have no choice. So I needed to go back to my roots. Don't be too good to jump in the car. We all kind of, now I have to jump on the plane, and, be a jet setter. And that's, I've got to portray that lifestyle. And I've just never, you got to get back to your roots. If you're going to start from scratch, you got to go back to scratch. And that's really, I had already planned to drive to Connecticut, and that was the reason why I planned. And that might seem like a small thing. It's a domino and a bunch of other things that I'm doing. So I said, hey, I'm driving to Connecticut. As soon as I said I was driving, my aunt loaded up my trunk with stuff. And so that was kind of the excuse for the general public. Well, I had a trunk load of stuff, haven't seen my grandkids in a year, and just too busy. Things constantly were coming up, and it was one thing after the other thing, after one reason after another reason, and a whole year went by, and I hadn't seen the family in up north. It's ridiculous. Okay, I said, you know what? Got to kind of hit the reset button and start over again. And so this was a good excuse and a good way to kind of, just one of the dominoes that's dropping right now, to bring all this stuff back together again. I'm not too good to jump in the car, drive, okay, whatever, 18 hours, 22 hours, and, get out of my car and visit and do all that stuff with my family, okay? Would it be great, amazing to have my own jet and jump in and, yeah, that would be amazing. But then you kind of lose touch with the reality of what's going on with the rest of the world, okay? Like, that's unfortunately, as Americans, we've kind of lost touch with that. Now, this is why we've got this mentality of, well, somebody's going to fix it for me. No, nobody cares. No one's going to fix it for you. As soon as you leave it up to somebody else to fix it for you, what's going to happen? Okay, there's always something in it for them, which means there's less in it for you. Fix it for yourself. Figure out how to fix it for yourself. This has been my guiding principle. Don't become too good to do anything. I've been like I did landscaping for a while. Was that my job? No. I have a friend, good friend, who had a landscaping company. And he just basically called up and said, "Hey, I got this job. I've got to get it done." And I had people cancel on me, workers cancel on me at the last minute. Do you know anybody who can help me do this job? Yeah, I'll help you. My friend Skip. I'll help you. Why not? Like, are you sure? Like, because they don't expect, people don't expect that response from you. Yeah, I'll help you. I did snow plowing for him, put in retaining wall. Now, is that? I mean, we went and we weed whacked the whole field. Had this shoulder holster thing and made professional weed whackers, and as a matter of fact, that was the job that I started with him. I got to get it done this weekend. Company said if you can't get it done this weekend, I got to find somebody else that's going to do my landscaping. Literally, that was the position he was in. This was a huge company. They said if you can't get it done, we're going to have to get another landscaper. This has got to get done. I don't know if I think they had notice from the town or something. It was just kind of like a field, but I don't know, neighbors were complaining or something, but it was almost like hay it had gotten so high. Yeah, I'll come help you, Skip. Really? Yeah, what's the big deal? I'm going to get paid. While I was landscaping this, a friend of mine, who kind of friend, customer, actually, he was a customer of mine, said was in the baseball field next to the thing, and I was weed whacking, and he saw me. He was like, "Mike, what's going on?" And I said, "Oh, I'm doing some landscaping over here for my friend." And he goes, "Well, I'd ask you how it's going, but obviously I can see it's not going that well." I'm like, I just let him go. I'm like, well, no, I'm doing okay. I just let it go. That was his, vision that things were not going well for me. Was I was now had, resorted to having to landscape on a Saturday morning. I had to weed whack a field on it. I was working at, I was the chief, literally with this, I was the chief information officer at a hospital. Okay, for major 100 doctor, medical practice, and I was acting at the time. I was the acting chief information officer for his 100+ doctor practice. But because I was there on a Saturday morning, weed whacking, his opinion was that things have completely fallen apart in my life. That's fine. I don't care. Okay. Now, what's the transverse side of this? Okay. If you do those things, well, now we know how to build a retaining wall. Okay. If I want to build most of the stuff that I do around my property, I do it myself. I know how to put the geofence grid in. I got paid. It's the same thing. People are everybody will come up with an excuse. I got paid to learn how to put in a geofence, and then put this retaining wall in, so it'll never fall. You could put an average, home hacker will just put the blocks there with the pins in them, and then what happens? Within 3 years, the wall's going like this. I know how to geogrid that, so that wall will never, because I learned from professionals, and I got paid to do it. Okay, on a Saturday. What else? I mean, basically, that's how everything. And I learned this at a really early age in high school. Don't be too good, okay, to throw in. I got see my founder thing here. Another thing. Okay, I helped the friends of mine. I helped them build their brewery. Now, did I have to go do that? Was it beneath me? At the time, I had a 6-figure salary, director of what was my title? director of client facing tech. I don't know. I had this like title was like I'm trying to get it like this long. Okay, director. I mean, like my boss was the CIO and the president. So like that's where I was in the food chain, 6-figure salary, and I was there painting walls and digging holes and that it was that I wasn't too good to go do that. Okay. Now, what's coming out of that? Well, was it 2 years later? I'm building an app for breweries. Okay, I didn't know anything about other than you pop the cap on a bottle of beer and there's some good tasting stuff inside. Didn't know anything about it. Now I know, not nowhere close to being an expert, but obviously I know a lot more, and basically got my foot in the door with breweries. Okay, everything leads to something else. It's the same thing with everything. Everything you do, it leads to something. If you don't put it out there, and and you're too good to do this, it's going to close the door to the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. So, I've never been too good to do anything. So, I'm going to kind of wrap up this one with this again. Every couple of days, the next one I'm going to do is based on. Okay, today I told you. Okay, there's no team in your business. Don't get caught up in the fact that you believe there's a team. There is no team. Okay, treat your business like it's your business. Okay, and you have customers, and you have other people that are building the business based on some type of a plan. Okay, the more you control that plan, the better it's going to be for you. Okay, most people walk into these businesses with no plan, and I've made that mistake over and over again. I let somebody else come up with the plan, and then you realize that they probably, I would say 8 out of 10 people in this business have no idea how they made the money. Okay, and it had nothing to do with them. 8 out of 10, it might even be 9 out of 10. They either stuck around long enough where the money rolled up to them, or they brought somebody else in that somebody else brought. It's never them. Okay, it's always they brought somebody in who brought somebody in who brought in the money person. Okay, who already had a team in place someplace else. I don't listen to the stories anymore because I can't believe the stories, because the stories you never know how true that story really is. Because they think if they tell you the real story, it's going to turn people off and they're not going to try it. Like, these stories are designed to get you to try it, which is fine. I mean, I don't necessarily like that type of thing, but they're designed to get you to try it. Fine. There's nobody in the back that's telling you what the real story is. You really got to kind of like corner people to find out, what's the real story? Like that, now I ask. It's like I'll corner the person. Come on, it just nothing's that easy in life. What's the real story? And some people will tell you. Some people stick to it. Oh no, that's depends how much they trust you. But most people trust me, which is good. So I'll get the rest of the story. Just get that. Say, oh come on, what's the rest of the story? That's the best way to do it. Just share the rest of the story. And find out what they really did. I think this industry would be a lot more, people would be a lot more successful. And that's one of the biggest issues that we see today because of the internet is back in the day when companies were talking about millionaires and billionaire, company getting to $1 billion. And then all of a sudden they saw that these internet companies, the real internet, and the real mobile, especially the mobile companies, they're saying, like, oh, we're going to be in momentum and we're going to get to $1 billion. And that's like, all right, well, that's next year. Like, when are you going to get to, that's what my thing now is like, well, when are you going to get to $10 billion? Okay, so you're talking, and they're like, they take a step back. Well, what, $1 billion isn't enough? No. Like, don't you look to see, like, let's talk about Lyft and Uber and Amazon and like these companies that are just like Airbnb, like coming out of nowhere with a mobile phone, like they don't even own anything, and and they're to multi-billion dollars, like in just a matter of a couple of years, 3 years. They're in. So where are you going to be in 3 to 5 years? 3 to 5, you're going to be $1 billion. Like that's not even a starter today. And so like the internet is basically made that visual. That's a lot of our issues today are because the internet made a lot of things visual, and people are less. Um, you say they're not as impressed, okay, by the small things. Back when I was a kid, a business just hoped to break even. It's can I pay my people? Can I pay myself? Can I have a nice house? Just a regular like nice house, and like I consider where I am a nice house, and can I have a car? My wife and I have a car. Like that was the big thing. Not no, not for business anymore. Okay, that's not even like most of the. That's why the CEOs have to make $3 million a year or whatever. It's like you're not. It's like you're not even a business if your CEO is not making $3-4 million a year. That's just crazy money. Hey, if you could get it, that's great. But most people start their business with that mindset. Uh, They'll start with a how do I replace my current income mindset. Okay, let's start with that. Let me replace my current income. Then I can quit my job. Okay, with a vision of this is how I'm going to replace my current income. This is how I'm going to take it to the next level. And then, step it up to the, okay, how do I make $3-4 million a year level? No, they come into the company as if they're the CEO, and, they've got to start that first. If it doesn't look like they're on that, what do you call it, MTV Cribs, thing within the first, 60 days, 30 days, 60 days, you've already lost them because they've got this, MTV Cribs mindset. I'll never forget my son Dustin. Um, what he said, he said something to me when he was just a like a teenager, like 13. I think he was only like 12, 13 at the time. And he said, well, the problem is, he goes, I watch MTV Cribs. He told me straight out, I watch MTV Cribs, and that's where I should be. I want that business like he had that mindset of I said, well, good luck to you. You see, at the time I was making, this was many, many years ago, I was making a high 5 figures, and I said, we live okay, Dustin. You're not. He didn't never wanted for anything. He had a computer. He had his game system, and I'm like, you don't never want for anything. You had whatever clothes you wanted, and within reason. I mean, I traded them within reason. I said so. We don't have MTV Cribs. Okay, so and that's after, at that point, probably 20 years of almost 20 years of busting my butt to work my way up to that level. It's at that point I think that's when I was acting CIO for a hospital-based practice. So, in any case, so now that I'm done rambling, so probably 2 days from now, it's either going to be tomorrow or Wednesday. I'll post a notice on my page, and then once I get into a routine, again, I'm just kind of like half awake right now, but I'm going to be talking about building customers. And again, this is something, when they teach you how to do this, okay, with this, you're at the top and you're building customers. That's like the best thing, closest thing I could say is this is like a wholesale buying club. It's just a buying club. You're teaching people how to build a buying club because it's really not your team. So they're buying products, and some people are recommending those products to other people. So it's like recommending a Sam's Club to somebody, and it's almost picture perfect. A Sam's Club or a BJ or a Costco's. That's really this model is a Costco home, and some lucky people actually benefit from. It's like having Sam's Plus, where you get a percentage of all the stuff that you order, kind of thing. That's what this reminds me of, because you're not really building a team. So just think about it that way. So these are the things that I'm going to be sharing and teaching. Is like how do you really build a team in, you know, in MLM or in a home business. Chances are, based on as soon as you bring them in, bring them in where they're signing up with another company, it's never your team. But you really have to bring them in with the correct mindset so they understand and share it in a way that makes sense to other people. These things just, when people look at this, that's the problem, is it just mentally doesn't, like, the people who get excited and jump in and join, it's because of emotion. It's not because that makes logical sense to them. You see where I'm going? Like, that doesn't, if I'm saying, yeah, you take, friend number one and put them here, and friend number two, put them here, and then they're each gonna, like, that, it didn't make any logical sense to me originally. I was like, well, if I put friend number one here and friend number two there, I can't go to friend number one and say, hey, could you help me with this event for friend number two? Because financially they're disconnected. Like, that's the problem with these balancing routines. Like, it's like you're, should I do the, it's like kind of like this. I can't even stand like this today because they're imbalanced. You never balance them. That's why it's a wholesale buying. You never get that balance because friend number one's going to be like, why do I want to help friend number two? Then you create, like, this actually creates confusion and controversy, and like, they like friend number, they like them and they want to make believe like they're helping. But why would then it becomes fighting because friend number one and friend number, they both know friend number three, and it's like, who gets to them first? Like, you see where I'm going? Like, doesn't make any sense. So in any case, I'll help you with all that stuff. So have a great day, and hopefully I'll probably get to take a nap today. I don't know. It's going to be a busy day. So next live, either going to be tomorrow or Wednesday. I'm going to try to do them every day, or every time I do them, it's going to be somewhere around noon, and I will post it that I'm going to be doing it. And when I post it, of course, these are available. Once they're there, they're there. So for whatever, as long as it's relevant, I'll leave it up on my page. When it stops being relevant and it gets replaced by newer stuff that's coming down, then I'll pull it off the page. So in any case, have a great day, everyone.